Hey everybody, welcome to the Always Out of Market podcast. I'm back this week. Big Daddy Steven's back. We've got Jason and Matthew and Tyler, who once again just can't get his camera to work, so he's just gonna be here, and you'll hear his voice, just won't see him.
Yep.
I mean, if you're showing his profile picture, they'll see him.
Yeah, I mean they'll see his profile picture. Yeah, no Ryan this week. He's the one who actually has the clap now. Not
Steven
me.
gave it to him.
Yeah,
He went
I
to
gave
the
it to
Super
him.
Bowl.
Huh?
He went to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, we won't talk much about college stuff going on, but we've got the usual NFL slate. We've already done the Thanksgiving games and the Black Friday game. We did in the last episode, but we still got the rest of the Week 12 games going on, and we'll talk about fantasy. But first, we'll start with news. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. So not a ton of news this week. We did have some interesting things happen. We'll start off with the Broncos because there's always something going on with us, it seems like. Kareem Jackson has once again been suspended for a hit on Josh Dobbs from this week. It was 4 games, just like the last one. He tried to get it reduced, but this time they did not reduce it. It is going to stay at 4 games instead of getting knocked down to 2 like the last one. Would you believe me if I told you he is not the most fined player in the NFL this year?
No, who is the most fined?
DK Metcalf.
Really?
Wow.
By more than double the next person in the list.
Jesus Christ. But no suspensions.
No suspensions.
That's
What's he been fined for specifically?
I couldn't tell you, honestly. I'm really not sure.
I know you can get fined for like jumping in the stands and shit like that. Don't they?
Yeah,
he's probably been fined by when he's gets pissed off and starts pushing players around because he's bigger.
Yeah,
bullying little safeties.
That is possible. Let's see if I can find a thing real quick.
Oh, you look for that.
I would say the first thing that pops up is Seahawks receiver DK Metcalf fined again for unnecessary roughness.
Wild.
So
that is crazy though. But yeah, that dude, the dude that just keeps, he basically comes back for a game or two and then gets suspended again. It's not worth keeping that guy, I don't think.
This says he's been fined. This was as of October 22nd. The DK Metcalf has been fined 4 times for unnecessary roughness, and it was his 6th overall fine, and that was over a month ago. So it's probably higher than that by now. So, but anyway, we'll move on to the Colts let Shaq Leonard walk. They cut him. He's obviously going to be pursued by several teams probably. He's a great player. Not really sure what was going on in the Colts locker room that made them want to cut him, or if it was a money thing or what. He cleared waivers, so no one has to take on that contract. The Colts have to pay his X amount of money this year on his salary, but other than that, they don't have to take on the salary cap hit or anything. There's been 3 teams that have shown interest, being the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Broncos. And I did see, I think I may have seen it this morning, that the Vikings also have interest in trying to sign him. So
the Dolphins do now too.
Yep. We can talk about that too. Jalen Phillips more than likely tore his ACL yesterday playing against the
Achilles.
Jets.
I saw on ESPN it was an Achilles injury.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the video. You can see it rupture. I mean, it looked just like Aaron Rodgers' video that they have of his.
I already confirmed that it's an Achilles injury. I mean, he'll be out for the season. He's not gonna. It's too late now.
Yeah, there's not enough time for him to come back.
Big ups to the Jets' shitty field.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure they have more Achilles tears on their field this year than they've scored touchdowns at home. And I think that's actually accurate.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I
saw Raheem Mostert about it. Raheem Mostert brought it up yesterday, and after I guess they interviewed him after the game, and he let him know.
Yeah, that field is that they need to either, if they're going to keep it turf, redo it and get a better turf, or go to grass. I know that's a crazy concept that the NFL teams seem to not want to understand, but at this point, there's been so many people be injured, like ACLs, Achilles, just everything, that you would think they'd say, you know what, if we want our good players to stay healthy and us actually have a chance to win games, let's get grass so they don't get injured as often.
No, what
Stop
they're
letting
gonna
our players get injured in general.
what they're gonna do instead is they're gonna look at all these things that happen and they're gonna make another adjustment to special teams plays that's even more boring. That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's
Just
like,
gonna stop
how about
doing
we
kickoffs.
fix the actual problem?
Or here's something else we can talk about. I didn't think about, I didn't put it on my list or anything, so I didn't think about it until now. They are more than likely going to aggressively pursue banning the hip drop tackle in the off season.
So dumb.
That would just be stupid.
I don't know how you're supposed to tackle anymore. Like,
Don't.
Yeah,
really,
Let them run by you.
I still say the fact that defenses in the NFL are as good as they are, with how many ways they can't touch the players, is incredible to me. Like, the fact that defenses are still such a big part of the game, because it feels like at this point, with all these rules, it should just be a shootout every game, just running back and forth.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that goes back to with Kareem Jackson being suspended. He's been in the league for 15 years. He's not used to having to play the way that he has to play now. That's why he's getting all these hits, because he used to be able to get away with it and it wouldn't be a penalty or a fine or a suspension or anything like that. It's just another football play. And I listened to another podcast where they talk about the Broncos, like, specifically, and they brought that up, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point. He's been in the league a long time. It's not the same game that he came in playing. It's a completely different game, and it's just going to keep changing, more than likely for the worse. I get player safety is, a big thing. Obviously, we don't want people to get hurt, but you have to stop changing it at some point, or it's just not going to be football anymore.
Back to the Phillips thing, though. Like, that really sucks, and I hate it because, like, I was starting to think that Gavin was right with his bold prediction going into the season. He made the one about Jalen Phillips, I believe, for having like, a certain number of sacks.
It was him having a certain amount of sacks, and I mean, he may have already hit it. I'm about to see if I can
pull it up. I feel like he was close, or he was closer than I thought he was going to be.
He's probably going to get a big contract in the year.
Yeah.
He's also been, like, very injury prone. Like, I saw a whole, like, thing about him, like, when he played at UCLA. He retired because he kept getting injured, and then he went to Miami, and then he got drafted.
I don't remember how many sacks Gavin said he was going to have, but he has 6.5 right now.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I mean, I just remember he had that on there, and that was one of the bold predictions that I thought was kind of crazy at the beginning of the year, and then now I'm like, okay, it was a good guess, or it was looking solid, and then of course this happened, and that if he didn't hit it, then he definitely isn't going to hit it now. But
shout out to MetLife Stadium again, though. Great turf.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, we've all talked about it so much. We all feel about the same way about the turf situation. I hate it for these players that just are just basically playing on top of concrete and pretending like it's grass.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this all day. Yeah. It's just,
let's move on.
The next thing I have is another release. The Eagles released defensive end Derek Barnett. Once again, another player that will be heavily pursued more than likely once he clears waivers. If he clears waivers, that is. And that, I don't know what that move was about, honestly. Yeah. It's not like he's not a bad player. Yeah, that's what I said. It was they were clearing out room for Shaq Leonard because, like I said, if I had a choice between those 3 to 4 teams, I'm picking the Eagles. They have the best chance to win the Super Bowl out of all those teams this year. So, if you want a ring, that's the place to go. It seems like.
Yeah.
The next one I have, the Saints put Michael Thomas on IR. I don't think anybody's surprised about that. That's a every year thing at this point.
How long do we really think he's going to be in the league for? Because at this rate, it can't be much longer.
He's living on
he's not old. I don't
Coming off that
understand. He's
rookie
not.
year, right? At this
Yeah,
point.
I
pretty
don't
much.
even know I don't even know what he went on IR for.
Probably
So
assault.
probably.
Oh, it's a knee injury.
Uh,
At least it's not a toe injury again.
yeah. I
Uh,
we hate on turf toe a lot, but there's a lot of NFL players that say that's like the worst injury they've ever had was turf toe.
yeah, I've heard that
Slant
too.
boy.
And then we've got one more, and this is one that we've all. This is coming about. We're in what week? We're about to hit week 12, so this is about 10 weeks too late. The Steelers have finally fired Matt Canada. That was something we saw at the beginning of the year. We've talked about it all year. He's just awful at his job, or was awful at his job. He doesn't have it anymore, so
But
he'll
now
wind up
we'll
being
see
a
if
head
Kenny
coach
Pickett is the
somewhere.
problem.
He'll wind up being a head coach somewhere and running that team into the ground. So
Oh,
I feel bad for
yeah.
whatever team he winds up going to.
I don't know. I don't. After all the hate that he got over this season, I don't think he will ever get a head coaching job.
Well, I mean, we'll find out. I mean,
The fact
There was
Yeah.
one more.
the fact that other sporting events that weren't even football were chanting Fire Canada, chanting
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
like how do you recover from that?
Don't.
you go down to the college level and try and prove yourself.
Yeah,
That's what you have
pretty
to do.
much.
I think so too. But I will say I still need to see something from Kenny Pickett to really believe that it was 100% Matt Canada.
Yeah.
I was a full supporter that he was a really bad offensive coordinator, and anytime Kenny Pickett did his own audibles, they looked a lot better. So maybe this is a chance for Pickett to prove that it really was Matt Canada, but it's now all eyes are on him at this point. It's like, all right, what are you gonna do now?
Who's
Yeah,
calling their plays now?
I think it was their quarterback coach. I think their
Yeah,
quarterback coach is
that's.
filling
Oh
in.
yeah, I did
I
see
think
that.
that's
I did see
right.
that.
So we'll see. We'll see what they can come up with. I'm with Steven on this one. I need to see Kenny Pickett actually do well without Matt Canada to believe that it was just Matt Canada. He was definitely part of the problem,
Yeah,
but
a big part.
yeah, we'll see if he was the whole problem.
At least 55%.
Let's how about another thing? And let's actually see Jalen Warren get the ball more than Najee Harris.
Yeah,
Yep. That if they don't swap over to Jalen Warren, they're making they're making a mistake.
Like the
He
fact,
is-
even in that last game where Warren got all those yards, Najee Harris
still-
still had more carries.
Yep.
What are you doing?
It's like they're playing like it's 10 years ago where power backs were the way to go, and Najee Harris is a power back. Jalen Warren is speed, which is what you actually need in today's day and age. I mean, look at like the Dolphins, for example. They
when you have linebackers running 4-2, you can't use power backs anymore. You have got to have speed on your team. Everybody is running 4-5 and below besides linemen, and some of them are running 4-5. So, I mean, I don't know. They're in a world of trouble over in Pittsburgh.
I mean, are they though? Right now, they'd make the playoffs.
Yes, but are they going to win in the playoffs?
Yeah,
I mean, their defense might be able to carry them to a win in the playoffs.
maybe a
I don't see
win,
it.
but they're not Super Bowl contenders at all. I just feel like
I mean,
they're
I don't
gonna,
think so either.
yeah, they're gonna just pull off the bullshit Mike Tomlin thing and get a winning record, and then just be a one and done in the playoffs if they're even in it. So
Hell, they might be a couple games above 500 this year. They already have 6
Okay.
wins. I mean,
Yeah.
they may go 10-7 or something like that.
depends on Kenny Pickett. That's all I'm saying. We just gotta see what he brings to the table.
Yep. That's it for news. I don't know if I don't think I missed anything big. If anybody has anything.
The Packers tight end Luke Musgrave has a lacerated kidney and he's out. How that happened during Sunday's game, or yeah, it was against the Chargers. However that happened, I have no idea. But he has a lacerated kidney.
Yeah,
Big
hopefully
shocking
he'll.
news. Burks is out again.
Yeah, that's not even news at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
we've got-
lives on your injury report.
Yeah, we re-released basically Jeffrey Simmons' backup, but I don't even remember what his name was. But I mean, other than that, nothing really notable. Not any big players that I can think of. So
Yeah, I was like,
We,
Huh?
we have like 18 people on IR. Is all I was gonna say.
Yeah. The
somehow,
injuries are terrible.
knock on wood, somehow the Broncos seem to be the best in our podcast teams on injuries this year, and that is just
Yeah, and
shocking.
last year it was the complete opposite. They
Yeah,
were
no,
worse than the league.
Yep. Like I said, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx how our season has turned around, but
Oh,
yeah,
I wanted to bring it up because, of course, I wasn't here last week, and I watched the podcast. Y'all talked about that I jinxed Christian McCaffrey because I picked him for Offensive Player of the Year because I was like, he's gotten a touchdown every game. I don't see that ending anytime soon. Literally, the next game, he doesn't get a touchdown. They still destroyed the Jaguars, but he didn't get one. But then no one addressed it, and I can't believe that we got away with it, is I had Joe Burrow picked as my MVP, and then he gets out for the rest of the season with an injury. So I jinxed both of those guys. So
you jinxed one a little harder than the other, though.
Oh yeah, no, I mean definitely jinxed Joe Burrow, but yeah, I mean like I said, I mean even though he missed it, the 49ers are fine. They're going to be just fine, and Christian McCaffrey is going to be just fine. Of course, he decides to be really good this week when I'm having to face him in my other league. So
He was taking revenge on you.
Yeah, I guess. So.
Yeah, he heard you talking, and he said, "Well, that motherfucker made me not score. let me go fuck his day up now."
Christian McCaffrey is one of our 7 listeners.
We're up to like 15 listeners at this point.
Yeah, come on, give the guys credit.
We get solid views on YouTube.
All right, but I guess if y'all are ready, we can move on to fantasy now.
Yeah, I know you're so excited to talk about fantasy this week.
Yeah, I'm getting just.
I mean, we don't have to talk too much about fantasy.
I'm getting destroyed at the moment. All right. So first off, can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So first off, we've got the matchup between me and Jason. Which actually, let's do this first. Let me go to standings. Check this out. We've had quite a shakeup in the standings. Big time. I'd like to point out, it felt like just a few weeks ago, I was down here in 6th place, and I have jumped all the way up to 2nd. Jason took first. Go ahead.
2 weeks ago, I had a 96% chance to make the playoffs. I'm down to a 78% chance.
But poor Tyler here, you can see he's at 1% chance to make it. He's only 3-8, but Ryan has he's been having a tough time too. And it's not like he's doing bad. It's just everyone he plays does better. That's really what screwed him over.
If you scroll down a little further, you can see the win streaks and the losing streaks that are going on right now is what has shaken the standings up so much.
Yeah, if I was Ryan, I would be fucking pissed because he's got the highest points for out of the league, and he's in 5th place. And, yeah, I mean, Matthew and Tyler don't really have much points for, but look how big of a difference their record is right now.
Yeah, I mean, what has really shaken up the standings is I'm on a 4-game win streak and you're on a 3-game win streak, and Gavin is on a 3-game losing streak.
It's crazy though how close this is now. Like I really don't know who the top 4 is going to be at this point.
Yeah, I mean it could be realistically it could still be anybody because if Tyler pulls off 2 wins here back to back or pulls out it'd be 3 wins actually because he won last week. But if he wins for the next 2 weeks and Ryan loses, then it comes down to points for. And I mean,
Ryan has to buy a Nick Bosa jersey.
No, and then also another thing that I looked at earlier and noticed. Remember earlier in the season, I was way above everybody in number of moves, and now everyone's sort of caught up to me because I feel like my team is somewhat established now, and I feel good with them. Maybe still making the occasional.
Tyler, look at how many moves Tyler has.
Yeah, 31.
Yep. I even passed Steven. I'm up to 21, but that's because of my fucking quarterback carousel I had going for a while. I have finally found my quarterback, I think, for the rest of the season.
I think so, with the way he's been playing, which, of course, is Dak Prescott. And so, Jason, is going to have most of his team play long before mine even touch the field. I mean, I've got a couple players that have played, but other than that, he's going to be basically done before I start really playing anybody. But he's got Dak, he's got CeeDee Lamb. They both, played amazing. He has the Dolphins defense, and they just absolutely destroyed the Jets. They got, two pick sixes? And, just...
They got a ton of sacks. They got a few turnovers. I mean, and they didn't give up very many points.
But yeah, because of this, I don't know. I mean, I would say you'd be crazy not to pick Jason here at this point.
Yeah.
A win this week guarantees me not finishing last in our league, and that's all that I want. So
nice.
The other thing I can't get over the fact is we let you get away with having Jamar Chase and Keenan Allen. I know Jamar Chase he's kind of busted a lot this year, but I feel like it's because of Joe Burrow being hurt early in the season, and now he's gone. So
yeah, now I'm worried about how many points he's going to wind up producing for me. But I do have I could flex Joe Mixon into my flex and move CeeDee Lamb up, or I could put Devontae Smith in. I have options, but I am worried about how many points Jamar Chase is going to actually get me down the stretch.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen's always been... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Matthew. You good?
Oh, I was just going to say, Keenan Allen's always been one of the guys that's he'll get you 40 points this week, but then he'll get you 2 points the next week. And this season is completely different. He's just balling out every single week in fantasy. Yeah. Both times that Jason has beat me, it's because Keenan Allen got 45 plus points. So
well, it's because they don't have Williams this year either.
Yeah,
he's hurt.
Yeah.
So he is the go-to guy.
Quentin Johnson doesn't know how to catch a pass. So
yep,
Quentin Johnson is a bust.
Yeah, he is. He's the biggest bust of this year.
Big 12 wide receivers.
Yeah, I know we normally don't give advantages in our own games, but I'm definitely giving myself the advantage in this week based off of how well my team has played.
Why wouldn't you? But yeah, the other notable thing here is I haven't decided what I'm going to do in my flex because I got several options. I got DJ Moore against the Minnesota secondary. Then I've got... I'm not going to play him because of the offensive line, but I've got Derrick Henry against Carolina, and that's a good matchup. They're 31st, I think. Where is it? Does it show it on here? I don't know. They're 31st against the run, I think. And then Kyron Williams is back against Arizona.
Surprised you're not playing Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua...
He's fallen
off. He hasn't performed. Yeah, he hasn't performed since Cooper Kupp came back.
Yeah,
I think Cooper Kupp's questionable though with an ankle.
Even still, I don't know. I need Puka Nacua to prove himself again before I put him back in. I think.
But... I don't know, Steven. If Cooper Kupp is out, I would start Nacua. I feel like it's mandatory. He's going to get yards. Who are they playing? Arizona. Oh my God, that would be dumb to not start him if Cooper Kupp is out.
I know who I would start out of the remaining ones you have, and it would probably be Kyron Williams. But
I just don't know because he's coming back from IR. I don't know if they're going to limit him or something too. And it's not like the Rams' other running backs have been decent too. So that's one thing I'm scared about with Kyron Williams. That's another one that I feel like I need to see something. But yeah, I've really been struggling with this because I've got so many options at flex. But DJ Moore has been solid the last few weeks, which is why I've kind of kept him. But the thing I'm worried about this week is the fact that, Justin Fields likes throwing to DJ Moore now. He's suddenly realized that he has a stud wide receiver. But will Justin Fields be able to handle the blitzes from the Vikings? Because that's how they're going to cover up their bad secondary, is just blitzing the shit out of the quarterback. Because that's what they've been doing. So, I don't know. I'll think about it some more. We'll see what I end up with. But
I'm just saying, if Cooper Kupp's out, Nacua is the guy.
I'm sure they'll adjust his. They'll probably adjust his projection too if Cooper Kupp's out. I would think he'd probably
might not wait. They might wait until the last minute to announce that too, though.
They'll probably do it 90 minutes before, and I'll be awake. I'll be able to make the adjustment. Oh, it's even a 3:00 game, so I'm not even worried about it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well. Let's move on to the next matchup. We've got Tyler versus Matthew here. Wow. You've had a lot of players play too, Matthew, haven't you?
I've had a lot of players play like
y'all
shit
both
over the
do.
past couple of weeks.
Well, Tyler started off really bad because the Lions played
Because
like
the
shit.
Packers, the best team in the NFL. No, I'm joking.
All because that dude missed his first extra point. That cost me all of his points because he missed his first extra point.
Yeah.
Well, extra point doesn't make you lose anything either.
Well,
It's
no,
just you
but
don't get
since
anything.
he missed the first one, they're gonna go for 2.
Yeah,
They're not gonna
that's
kick
true.
another extra point.
That's true. So
And then
They
we're
did.
never
They
gonna
went
kick a
for
field
every
goal.
other time. I went for every other time they scored too.
yeah, and then the Lions, of course, the defense didn't do well because they just could not contain the Packers. The Packers just played out of their
They couldn't.
minds.
It was awesome. I loved it. Every second of it. I did get a little nervous at the end because everybody I was in the house with was like rooting against the Packers for some reason. Don't know why. But the Lions scored with like 45 seconds left, and then they kicked the onside kick, and we got it. And I was so nervous because all they had to do was go down and kick a field goal. I'm pretty sure.
One thing I want to address too on this that I didn't address on matchup between me and Jason is it seems like this is what the 49ers do every week. They're like, they flip a coin. Are we going to let Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel play out of their minds? Or are we going to let George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk play out of their minds? That's what you get. Ayuk still got a touchdown, but even still, Deebo ran all over the Seahawks, and so did Christian McCaffrey. So it's just
scary. I'd never know when to start Deebo because of that exact reason. Because they sometimes, if he doesn't get 20 points, he gets 1 point. So
yeah, and that's the thing is I was thinking. I mean, because you played me last week, and it was the opposite where George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk both got me like 20 points, and then Deebo gave you like what 4 or 5, something like that. It wasn't very much.
Last week I had like 5 players get less than 10 points. So,
but I mean,
it was just disastrous.
And
Aaron Jones got hurt, so it was even worse.
Looking at this, I mean, Tyler did actually have some players put up good points, though. He had Tony Pollard and Tyreek Hill, of course, putting up good points. But
more than they were projected
Tony Pollard
for.
kept him in it. Tony Pollard kept him in it.
I mean, I'm still gonna give the edge to Matthew though, because I think Jake Elliott will probably give him more than what Tyler got out of his kicker. And then the Browns defense, even against Denver. I mean, it depends on what Denver looks like this week too, what their offense looks like.
Yeah, I can't start the 49ers defense, but if you scroll down, I think they got like 19 points, so not 15 points.
15.
So now that one could be a bust, but still debating whether I want to start Trevor Lawrence or not. Because I don't know how much I trust Lamar this week, but it is against the Chargers. But so it could work out for me.
I would start Lamar over
And
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm still thinking about swapping my tight ends. I don't know if I trust Travis Kelce. He's been kind of letting me down.
He's been a bust recently.
He's been letting me down recently.
Even he had some drops this last week.
He did.
Not the most important drop.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, the Chiefs could have won that game, but they didn't because of a really bad drop. But that's just like that's just the story of the Chiefs this year is their dropping issue that they're having. But
me and Gavin were talking about how Patrick Mahomes just got his first like actually really good card in Madden, and we were thinking about it and we were like, he really hasn't done much this season. And then the next day I saw a stat that they have like 30 drop passes this season.
They also have the least amount of points scored in the second half this year.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to think about.
They haven't scored in the second half in 3 games.
That's insane.
Yeah. But I'll say, in my opinion, I would still go with Lamar too against the Chargers defense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
he
Jordan
might just
Love
be able
lit
to
up
run
the Chargers, so.
And then I think even still, I would probably still play Travis Kelce just because if you have him on the bench and he pops off, you're gonna like just hate yourself. I think.
Oh no, but at the same time, I mean, if you click on Travis Kelce, his last couple of weeks have been not good.
Bad. He's not the number 1 tight end anymore.
No.
Wow, he only got 4
actually,
against Miami.
He got 15 against Philly, but
Because
I don't
he was
think
the
I
only
started
one
him.
that could catch, and he did get a touchdown. But
Yeah.
I mean, he still dropped several, but like all the other receivers were dropping more. It was
It's just you
really
can see
bad.
you can see his production has gone down significantly for the last month compared to what it was.
He's still ranked 2.
Who's number 1?
I think it's Sam Laporta, isn't
I
it?
was gonna say it's got to be Laporta.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be Laporta.
I think I'll stick with Taysom Hill, even though I think the other tight end I have is projected more points.
It's such a wild card to start Taysom Hill. I get he gets a lot of points if they get into the red zone, but if they don't get into the red zone, you're getting no points.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's a risk that he's willing to take, right, Tyler?
I mean, I don't know if the other dude's gonna get me the points. I mean, tight ends.
You don't
are,
know if
like,
Taysom
so
Hill's going to get
tricky.
you the points.
Yeah, but neither. It doesn't matter. I feel like Taysom Hill might at least get me some red zone points. I don't know about Trey
Maybe.
McBride.
I don't even who is Trey McBride? Who
He's
is
the Cardinals tight end.
that?
I only
do have
picked him up
Kyler
because
Murray.
Hill was on bye.
True, they do have Kyler Murray now.
Yeah, which you're
Yeah, I do
starting
have
Kyler
Kyler
Murray
Murray now.
too.
Yeah.
Y'all both got very mobile quarterbacks in this matchup.
Give
I've
me
got the only
Matthew's
good
team on
Giants
this one.
player
Yeah.
too.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to the last one. We've got
The two people
This
who
one
aren't
looks
here.
like
the two people
this
that
one
aren't
looks like
here.
a sheep clapping right now.
Yeah, so you've got Gavin
Not-
versus Ryan.
It doesn't look
Uh,
as bad as mine and Steven's game.
No. Oh well, Ryan's only had one person play. That makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I will say I've never seen Ryan as grumpy as he was yesterday talking to me because
He was in a bad mood.
He was in such a bad mood because the Seahawks just screwed him over in so many ways because he also was playing against Christian McCaffrey in fantasy. And Christian McCaffrey put up 30 points and the Seahawks just could not stop the 49ers. It was, I don't know what
It
was
never
going
can.
on.
It literally never can.
Yeah, it's just
I feel like the Thanksgiving games are always garbage.
Yeah, I mean,
Not this year.
Well, there was one good game, and it was the Packers-Lions game. The other two were
That's the only one I
blowouts.
watched.
The other two
Well-
were blowouts. I mean,
the
The
Commanders
Cowboys are always a blowout.
Well, the Commanders Cowboys felt like at least like the first bit of the game felt like okay, maybe this will be an okay game, and then like the Commanders just stopped doing anything, and the Cowboys just ran away with it.
Yep.
So
I
I was
saw
saying this in the Black Friday game too.
yeah,
I saw
Yeah.
that the Cowboys play the Dolphins. That's going to be a real test for both of those teams.
yeah, because they can't beat good teams.
yeah, they can't
They
beat
can't-
teams.
but-
They're going to wind up tying.
That would be
That
so
would be
funny.
so fucking funny. Because
Whenever
Both
that game,
Cowboys haven't beaten a team with a winning record.
and they both have a winning record.
Yeah.
When that game comes up,
Oh.
I want to be able to pick a tie, and when that game comes up, because I will pick they will tie, and if they don't tie, I just get it wrong. But if they do tie, I get like 5 extra points.
We'll look into that, maybe. I'll see if I can make that work in the standings.
But when it comes down to who's going to win this game, Gavin is going to wind up
Yeah,
winning this.
give
I
me
mean,
Gavin easily.
if you get a player to go over 30, you lock up a game or a week most of the time. So
Tisk. The Sun got underperformed.
Yeah, he
got
did
almost
by
20
point 2.
so
He underperformed by point 2 though.
fair enough. It's not a bust though.
Oh,
It's
no.
not.
I mean, Amon Ra has been so solid. He's
Yeah.
been a
And then the
great
Cowboys
player to
kicker
have.
overperformed.
Hey, here's your opportunity. Scroll down and see if Sam Laporta is the number 1 tight end.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure. Oh,
No,
he's not.
who is it?
And it's probably Kittle.
No, it
No.
can't be Kittle. Kittle's like probably like 6 or 7 because he either does a lot or he does nothing. That's the problem
Who-
with Kittle.
Who
T.J.
is the-
Hawkinson.
Oh yeah, that's probably who
Oh,
it is.
yeah, it's T.J. Hawkinson. I don't know why we didn't think
Click
of
on
there.
T.J. Hawkinson.
He's right there. Click on
Yeah,
it.
it's him.
Yep.
It's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but questionable.
Uh-oh. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Also, Rashad White is also questionable. So there's at least 2 players on Ryan's starting lineup that are questionable.
Has Jonathan Taylor been scoring points? I feel like 18.8 is a little high of a projection.
I mean, he's been
He's been
sharing
doing pretty decent.
the load. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah,
not terrible.
That feels like, I mean, it does feel a little bit high given his What is his average? His average is 13.3, but I mean, it's still not. Looking at it, it makes sense, I guess, with his projection. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs actually didn't have as big of a week, but that's also because David Montgomery was looking real good, and I mean, the only thing that really looked good about the Lions, really, Sam Laporta did well too, because he got. Obviously, he's not playing him. Really wish I could have gotten Sam Laporta because I'd probably be playing him every week.
Yeah.
I know most of us probably went for him in the waivers the week that Gavin got him, but I think I had him as like my second pick, and I wish I had put him as my first.
No, I saw that 3 of us put in waivers for Tank Dell, and Ryan was the lowest on the list. So he was the one who got him, and he's got him in his flex starting this week.
There.
That guy has been performing so well this year.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
The thing is, I don't trust taking a quarterback and their number 1 wide receiver. Just because if one of them has a bad game, you get no points from two players. It's such a risk.
I think that this is Ryan is kicking in desperation mode to try not to finish in last.
Also,
Probably,
you say that,
still.
but then Jason did that with CD and
yeah,
Dak.
Yeah,
So.
that too.
I feel like that's a different story though, because CD Lamb gets fucking 40 points a game. It seems like
He's a proven receiver.
Yeah.
Which
Tank Dell, he's looking good. He is looking really good.
I think the thing is, I mean, definitely CJ Stroud is like playing out of his mind and everything, but he has had, a couple weeks here and there that it hasn't been as good for him. So it does seem like a little bit of a risk, but I mean, like Jason said, Ryan's got to do something to climb back up, and he's trying just any random thing that might just.
I mean, Gavin has Josh Allen in his top tight end target. So
I know a lot of people do it. I'm just saying I don't trust it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, Steven has Jalen Hurts and
AJ Brown,
his wide receiver core.
So
the
entire Philadelphia wide receiver core.
I do not. I just have those two, and I have DeAndre Swift too. But
you also have the tight end.
Yeah, and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, but he's on my. I mean, he's
the only one you don't have is Devontae Smith, and that's because I have him.
You have traded for him instead of Chris Olave.
Would have been a better trade.
Oh my god, we're not going back to this again.
All
right,
let's go to picks.
Well, let's look at the standings one more time, real quick, and then we'll go on to picks. But yeah, look at me and Jason there with points for. Look how close it is, and then Gavin's
I'm a better away team than I'm a home team.
Oh,
yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Gavin is way better away than he is at home too.
He is.
Way better.
I'm definitely a home team, just like the Titans are. So that seems on brand. Okay, well, let's move on to picks. Let me pull it up here. All right, you guys can see that?
Yep.
Comeback season!
We'll see.
I'm going to be mad as fuck if Tyler actually comes back.
There's no way. He's only gaining a couple of games a week at most. There's no way.
All right, well, starting off, we've got for the Week 11 stats, me and Ryan tied at 71%. Then Tyler and Jason tied in third at 65%. And then
Damn Seahawks.
Yeah, and then Gavin and Matthew tied at 59% in sixth place. But really, it's just 12, 11, 10. Like, everyone was close, even though there's obviously different standings. But
solid week for everybody.
Yeah, I think this is a great week. Nobody, I mean, yeah, we're all well above 50%, and that's really what you want. Like I said, my solid is 60%, and y'all are at 59. I think it's 59 point something, so decent week, I think. So
Steven doesn't grade on a curve.
I don't.
I'm glad to get 10 games right. I know I'm still technically last, but
yeah. I mean, I think about some of our earlier weeks where we were like all under 50%, and you just feel really
2 games right.
Yeah, that was really bad for you. But yeah, let's move on. Here's something good for you, Matthew. We've got you were right, we were wrong.
Yeah,
So
Matthew,
It
three
feels-
three tickets to that game was really expensive, huh?
It was pretty expensive, but I did it.
it's the Thanksgiving game, so he had to go with his two cousins that look exactly
Yes.
like him.
We are identical cousin triplets.
With the Clay
But-
Matthews jersey.
Yes. I just
Uh,
got my
but-
sister. I know she ordered it already because I was sitting there. She's getting me a Quay Walker jersey of the jerseys we just wore, the like all green with the yellow numbers. I'm excited.
Nice.
Can we talk about the Lions? Like, have they? How long has it been since they've won on Thanksgiving? Has it been a while?
I think that was 9 years in a row that they've lost on Thanksgiving.
Like, really, you think this was the year that it's like, okay, they're finally gonna get one, and then they didn't. They still
were
lost.
They were 8-2 for the first time since the '60s. So
Yeah.
you know,
All I know is the Moon is undefeated against the Lions.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
yeah.
Who are the people that
That's such
find
a
out?
weird stat.
There's so many stupid fucking stats out there. It's just like that's another
But,
one
like-
that's just really weird.
It's happened so many times, it can't be a coincidence, right?
It's what, like 12 times?
Yeah.
12
That's
times, yeah.
unheard of. Like
12 times when the Moon is in the exact same phase on Thanksgiving, they have lost all 12 times.
I mean, you could say the same thing about that stupid Kirk Cousins stat that Tyler always
Hey,
brings
That's
up.
a real stat. I
I
don't
mean, it's
care
a
what
stat.
you say. That's a real stat.
But that's the thing. I mean, there's always weird things like that you can
But
find.
like,
I think.
if you really looked into that stat, though, like, how many people
It's
do you
honestly
think
crazy.
you can find that
it is
about?
it is a crazy stat, yeah.
it's honestly really crazy.
But congratulations to you, Matthew. I know you were very
Thank
happy
you.
about this one.
I was ecstatic.
Yeah. But yeah, the Packers won against the Lions 29-22. All right.
Oh,
on.
Steven, you should have fucking used the Avatar meme. He could have been the guy that like killed the moon spirit.
I didn't think about that.
His
To be fair, this was very much a last minute you were right, we were wrong that I put out here. So, all right, let's move on. We got the overall stats. So, sorry, Jason, you just can't get me off your back.
I'm shaking my head at the fact that we're just still all so close at the top.
Yeah.
Comeback season.
Looking at our picks this week, now I've already put them all in. We'll get to it in a minute, but it looks like there could either be a huge shakeup or it's just going to be you get this game right, I get this one right, and it's just going to be the same again anyway. It's going to be one or the other. But Gavin's up still at the first. He's just held on to it this whole season. But Ryan is right there. If the Seahawks had beat the 49ers, then it would be Ryan in first. Like that's all it came down to. But and then
only 15 back.
Yeah, so Gavin's in first, Ryan's in second, Jason and I are tied for third again, and then Tyler's in fifth and Matthew's in sixth. So
I'm almost 20 games behind.
how long is it going to be before you and Tyler get to 100 games correct? That's what I want to know.
Oh, it's gonna be this week. I'm gonna get 9 right this week, at least.
And it is possible. For Matthew, though, I think we only have like 13 games, so you would have to get every game right to get to 100
Yeah, I
this
don't
week.
remember how many it is.
It's rough.
I think it's less than that because we already
Yeah, I think it might be 12. I
we
think
already
it's 12.
had 4 games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happen on this. Well, I guess we
Yeah.
also have to consider Thursday night for the next week with when we
So
record.
so it would be 13.
Let's
I
count the
gotta get
slides.
every game right. I can do it.
You can do all
This-
things through Christ.
Dude, this is the week 100%. We need it. It's never happened. I think the highest we've ever got was like, what, 85, 86%? Something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
All right. Let's move on. We've got our first game. We've got the Buccaneers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. And it's a 4-2 split. Tyler and Gavin went with the Bucks. Everyone else went with the Colts. Let's start with you, Tyler.
They had the Bucks had a little bit of a comeback, last week against the 49ers. They were right there. So, I'm a believer.
I don't trust them. I picked them so many times at the start of the season, and they started letting me down each week, so I've stopped picking them.
I just the Colts offense is too good for the Buccaneers offense to keep up with. I feel like is the biggest reason that I picked the Colts.
I mean, for me, it's the same reason Jason said. I feel like the Colts' offense is better, with what they've been doing, but especially playing at home, this was probably one that I would maybe consider going the other way if it was in Bucks territory. But yeah, I went with the Colts too. This was an easy. I'm just gonna go with the home team on this one. All right.
Well, it may be a little bit more of a challenge for the Colts because they don't have Shaq Leonard now, but I mean, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference.
All right, let's move on. We've got my first ever by myself, and it's on a fucking terrible game, and I don't feel good about it. We've got the Patriots at the Giants. I always make my picks before I start looking at everyone else's because I don't want to be, swayed in any way. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't trust the Giants. They have been looking a little bit better as of late, but then again, I don't trust the Patriots either. And I just said, fuck it. I'll just go with the Patriots. It was like a gut feeling, I guess. And I can't wait for it to burn me. And I'm going to be on
Steven
the
is
worst
not a
pick of the week.
believer. Not a believer in Tommy DeVito.
I guess I'm not, yeah. I didn't even really... I mean, I did consider DeVito in my reasons, but, I mean, in the end, it just... The Giants have been so bad this year, and so have the Patriots, but...
You're a hater.
Yeah, I guess I'm a DeVito hater.
This might be the worst game of the year.
This game fucking sucks. Yeah, this is a bad game.
Like, legitimately might be... Like, I want to know the numbers on how many people watch this game.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people buy tickets to this game.
It can't be more than like 1 million people that watch it on TV.
No.
Yeah, but of course, I went Patriots. Everyone else went Giants. Let's move on. Let's not even talk about this shitty game. Next up, this one's really interesting. This is one that I actually thought I would be alone on. The Steelers at the Bengals. It was a 4-2 split. Ryan and I went with the Bengals. Everyone else went Steelers. So I'll say my reason is I do think I think the Bengals will still be okay, even without Joe Burrow. It's not going to be as good, but I still think Jamar Chase is going to try to get open. I think what's his name, Browning, will still at least be able to throw to him. And it's at home in Cincinnati. I feel okay.
I don't know if I can
about
trust
it.
Browning.
That's I don't trust Browning, and Matt Canada just got fired, and I'm expecting the Raiders effect of,
right.
Hey, we just got this dumbass out of the office. Let's actually go out and win and show him that it was him and it's not us.
Yeah. I mean, y'all know my reasonings also that I was going to bring up is I can't trust Kenny Pickett either. I think Matt Canada was a big part of it, but I still don't think I can trust Kenny Pickett yet. So that was my reasoning too. This is another one that maybe I would have gone the other way if it was at home for Pittsburgh, but I just went with the home team again.
Fair enough.
I picked the Steelers because of their defense. They're going up against a backup quarterback who does not have very much experience in the NFL, and I think their defense is going to wind up pressuring him. They got TJ Watt. He's going to make some mistakes. He'll probably have a couple turnovers, whether it be a fumble and a pick or 2 picks, something like that.
That is a good point.
I think the turnover battle goes to Pittsburgh, and they'll be able to capitalize off of it.
The Bengals have a god-awful offensive line.
What, Matthew?
See the gears turning. Are you thinking about changing?
I mean, I didn't think enough about TJ Watt just absolutely obliterating an inexperienced quarterback. But
I mean, not to mention how bad their line's going to be. Like, Joe Burrow's been sacked the most, so.
Joe Burrow was sacked more. He's been sacked more times than Andrew Luck was in his career. So.
Nah, I'll stick with it. Fuck it. I'll just, go
as
Bengals.
As a rooting guide for myself, since my team is finally in the playoff talk, I am going for the Bengals in this game, but I am not picking them. But I really need them to win.
Fair enough.
That's a tough ask, Jason, this week, I think.
Like I need the Buccaneers to beat the Colts too.
All right, let's move on. We've got. I hate Jason this week. So we've got the Panthers at the Titans. Everyone went Titans except for Jason, who went with the Panthers. Let's hear it, Jason.
Yeah, I'd like to
Uh,
hear this.
I don't the like main reason that I went with the Panthers is because I still I don't the Titans have burned me so many times this year that I feel like I can't pick them because every time I pick them they lose. So take this as a opportunity to say that you're going to win this game because I didn't pick you, so you probably will win.
Motivation. I like it.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. I feel like eventually the Panthers have to win their second game of the season. They're not going to only have one win.
You would think so, right? Like Bryce Young's gonna have a breakout game at some point.
If there is a time for a get right game, this is going to be it against the Titans. I know that the Titans fans do not want to hear that, but if there is a game for him to get right, it is this game.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
All right. So I would like to say something here. So, stupid stat again. Titans undefeated in Nashville. I can't say at home because technically the Ravens-Titans game was a home game. In Nashville, undefeated this year. Away, just suck. They can't win. They haven't won away in over a year now. So they've got to win at home. If they lose, not only to the Panthers, but they lose their home streak, it's just fucking over. And if they lose
chalk up the season.
If they lose to the fucking Panthers, I'm going to unalive myself. It's gonna happen. Don't let me near bridges or guns or anything. It's fucking over.
Can we live stream it? Need content.
Supplemental,
I feel like
always out of market content right there.
I feel like the only thing that's gonna the big difference in the game is that the Panthers actually have a worse offensive line than we do.
I don't know about that.
That's true.
I
don't know. Bryce Young can't do anything because of how just dog shit their offensive line really is.
But our offensive line can't even stay in the game. We lose an offensive lineman every single game, and they're switching them up. We've played musical chairs with our offensive line. I don't know. I still think there's a chance that we might have a worse offensive line. And Andre Dillard, I understand why the Eagles never used him because he fucking sucks. He's so bad. Why did we even go for him at this point? He's he might be as bad as Dennis Daly was last year. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm kind of feeling that way about him. Yeah, Matthew, you got anything to say about this game?
I've picked the Titans a bunch this season, and I'm not taking I just can't pick the Panthers. They're abysmal. Like I said, one of these games, Bryce Young is gonna have a breakout and show that it's not him. It's the problem. But I don't know. I don't have faith in the Panthers whatsoever.
I want Bryce Young to figure it out. I just don't want it to be this fucking game of all games.
I don't blame you. Who else do they have on their schedule that they could actually beat, though, is the question.
Nobody.
I mean, they have other division matchups that they can probably at least play decent against, but
they have the Buccaneers, Saints, Falcons, Packers, Jaguars, and Buccaneers.
It's not ideal.
Yeah,
it's not ideal.
Like I said, this is the game to figure it out if you're going to figure it out this year.
Yeah.
Check on your boy. Yeah. Check on your boy. If it goes bad.
Steve is going to be sitting there stressed out in front of his TV for 3 hours tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
He's going to be stressed during halftime. You know how bad it's got to be stressed out during halftime?
All right, let's move on.
What are the games in market this week? I wonder. Go ahead. I'm going to look it up.
All right.
None of ours.
This one is I'm excited for this game. I think this will be a good... I mean, normally you wouldn't think this would be a good game, but it is this year.
I think it'll be really good.
Yeah. You got the Jaguars at the Texans. And 4-2 split again. Jason and I both went with the Jags. Everyone else went with the Texans. Let's hear... Matthew, you start us off. You pick the Texans.
I am fully on the Texans bandwagon this season. And I know that's not ideal for our Titans fans to hear. But I like both of these teams more than I like the Titans. So just had to throw a little salt on the wound. But like we got into earlier, CJ Stroud and Tank Dell are electric right now. I mean, he's hitting him in stride. He's taking it to the house every time. That miraculous touchdown catch they had last week, the highlight reel of the entire game. I'm all in. Even though it's against the Jaguars, I would usually take them, but I don't know. They're so iffy this season. They come out and they can dominate the best teams, but then they can lose to the worst teams. It's hard for me to pick them and be confident, which it doesn't matter with my picks most of the time anyway. But Texans by 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
Okay, well you're getting a little out there with
Nope.
that, but
Nope.
So I was more thinking that this is going to come down to a last second field goal kind of game. That's how I feel about this one. But I don't have the stats to back this up, but it seems like to me it comes down to ETN. What kind of game he has. If ETN plays well, the Jags play well. If he doesn't, it just seems like the Jags can't do much. So I'm hoping ETN can have a big game, and this is a chance for the Jags. I mean, there's a lot on the line here with the Jags, because if they lose, then the Texans, I believe, will take the division lead at that point. Because they're only one game behind, and then they'll have the tiebreaker too. Well, no, because the Jags lost to the Texans earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
So I think they already have. They have
would
the tiebreaker.
yeah.
So Jags have to win this game at this point, I think. So it's a make or break moment for the Jags, and especially with how much hype they got earlier on in the season, especially in the off season, they've got to figure it out. Of course, Calvin Ridley did great against the Titans, so maybe Calvin Ridley has finally figured it out. And maybe
I don't know. He's so hit or miss.
He's very hit or miss. But like I said, I think it's more of an ETN thing than like one of the receivers on the Jags thing. So I don't know. This is one of those. I just feel like the Jags are going to try to prove that they're actually they deserve to be at the top.
I don't think, back to your division thing real quick, I don't think the Texans have played the Colts twice yet. I think the Jags have beaten the Colts twice, right?
I know the Jags have beat the Colts twice. I know that for sure. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
and they've beaten us, so they're at least 3-1 in the division.
I think the Texans do the same thing as us, where they play. The Texans play the Colts later in the season. I know that. I think they play them in Week 18, and then they play somebody. They play them again. Before that.
Yeah, I got you. That's what's really going to decide that division.
Yeah. What about you, Tyler? You went with the Texans.
I just I think they're on a streak right now. I think they're hot, and I don't think the Jags are. I mean, they beat the hell out of us, but I mean they also gotten beaten by the 49ers. So I think the Texans have a little hot streak right now.
All right, Jason, you got anything to
add? I'm just trying to speak it into existence that for the Broncos to move into the playoffs, that we need the Texans to lose this week and when we play them next week. So I'm just trying to speak it into existence. Also, CJ Stroud, he's playing great. Don't get me wrong. He has started to come back down to earth from his previous play for the last month. The last couple of games have been a little bit rougher. I think he's got like 4 turnovers in the last couple of games compared to 1 turnover for the entire season up until that point. So he's starting to come back down to earth. Teams are figuring out how he plays. It's going to make it tougher on him down the stretch for the rest of the year, I think. There's a lot more tape out there on him. So something made me feel like the Jaguars were going to come out with this game, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal. It's not going to be a blowout either way, I don't think.
I do want to say I picked the Jags here. I want the Texans to win. I would much rather the Texans win our division than the Jaguars, because fuck the Jaguars. But also, I'm rooting for CJ Stroud because, I do think it was unfair what he went through in the offseason, being like talked about that he was dumb as shit or whatever because of the stupid S2 cognition test thing. And then, he's obviously proved that wrong. That person, whoever made that test, better be looking for a job.
But that
And then
test even proves how well people play. Okay,
yeah, well, and
it
then
shows how well you throw a football.
Yes.
D'Amico Ryans is the other thing. I'm rooting for him as a head coach. I think the Texans getting him was an incredible move. So
Yeah.
all right, let's move on. This is probably one of my games of the week this week, though, for sure. All right, we've got we've got the Saints at the Falcons, and we got old Captain Falcon over there by himself. That's Gavin over there. He picked the Falcons. Everyone else went with the Saints. I don't understand picking the Falcons at all with the way Arthur Smith has been just horrible this year as a head coach.
Maybe he sees something in them. I don't know what it would be, but
Little side fun fact about this game. They're gonna have like 80 hip hop artists at this game for the Falcons. I don't know if they're all gonna perform, but
it can't be any worse than the Jack Harlow halftime show.
Oh my god.
dude, you didn't like
There's
his little igloo?
No, I saw I saw a video on TikTok of it's like what America saw, and it was the regular halftime show, and then it said what Ford Field saw, and it was him all the way at the bottom, like real tiny, when nobody could actually see where he was, and it was just the igloo with nothing else around it.
It's so stupid.
But that's an
The
older field too, right? So I mean, they wouldn't
Yeah.
really have like a center or like a board hanging up like the Falcons or the
Mhm.
like a
or the
jumbotron.
Cowboys. Yeah, jumbotron. Hey, Dolly killed it. Dolly had a great
Yeah,
halftime
yeah.
report.
All right. I mean, do y'all want to say anything about this? It's just,
Not
I don't
really.
really have anything to say about this game.
yeah,
I
it's
just
just, it's
Is-
the Saints. They
My only
look better
thought
than the
here
Falcons.
is Derek Carr starting or is Jameis Winston starting? I know Derek Carr got hurt like last week, right?
I
Does it matter?
No, not really. I just think
it
Taysom
doesn't, it
Hill
doesn't affect
points.
my, yeah, it doesn't affect my pick. But I mean, we know Michael Thomas is out, so maybe Olave has a big game. I don't know. I still am not playing him in fantasy this week, but. I just think the offense is better. Maybe a bunch of Alvin Kamara screens that'll give Jason a lot of points against me.
That'd be great. I'll say Saints defense wins this game.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Oh yeah, is Ritter starting or is the other dude starting for the Falcons?
Ritter starts for the rest of the year.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you can book the Saints for about 5 turnovers this game from Ritter.
All right, let's
He's gonna
move
fumble the
on.
ball 3 times, 2 picks.
All right, we've got the Rams at the Cardinals. So, all of us went with the Rams except for Tyler, who picked the Cardinals. All right, Tyler, let's hear it, buddy.
I mean, they've been looking great with Kyler back. They went toe to toe with the Texans. They beat the Falcons, and I don't know if the Rams are that good. So
fair enough.
also Kyler's mobile, so he can get away from Aaron Donald.
You
I'm
don't get
a
away from Aaron Donald.
I'm very curious with the Rams because the Rams have been kind of up and down this season. Like earlier, like off season, everyone was like, yeah, Rams are going to be horrible again. They're still dealing with the fallout from the fucking picks tactic with the Super Bowl. They got a Super Bowl win out of it, but then they were up. They were like, oh wow, they got a stud in Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams, and then they've started coming back down. So I don't know. They've been kind of a roller coaster this year. But I just don't see the Cardinals being able to handle their offense, especially if Kyron Williams is back and looks good. I had to go with the Rams because, of course, I've got a couple Rams players on my fantasy league. They're both benched, but I
Yeah,
still want them to
Steven's
play well.
Steven's a little biased here.
I guess I am. So
I mean, I picked the Rams because their offense is better. And they're
Yeah.
getting weapons back, and I mean, they just came off a win beating the Seahawks, and compared to the Cardinals coming off a loss to the Texans, give the momentum to the Rams.
I like it. All right, let's move on. We got to talk a lot about this game. This is an interesting game too. I'm
The
excited for
Orange
this
Bowl.
one. The Orange Bowl.
Orange
Yeah.
Bowl.
We've got the Browns at the Denver Broncos. we've got a 4-2 split. Matthew and Gavin went with the Browns. Everyone else with the Broncos. I'm back on the Broncos train. I've been off of it for a while, and they kept proving me wrong. So I'm back on the Broncos train. And I know Jason isn't happy about it, but
No, I'm not.
let's hear it, Jason. What you got?
Okay, well, first of all, the reason I'm not happy that Steven picked the Broncos is because the more people that pick the Broncos, the closer the games are getting. And last week we won by 1 point, which means this week someone else picked them. So we're either going to tie or we're going to lose. So goodbye to the win streak we're on. But this is going to... No, it started with just me, and then it went to me and Tyler, and then it went to me, Tyler, and Ryan. Now it's 4 people. So I'm not a fan of people hopping on the bandwagon now that we're actually starting to win games.
Don't worry, I'm not. I picked them, or I picked against them, and they won. And then I picked against them, and then they won again. And I'm not gonna ruin y'all's chances. One of our teams on this podcast, besides the Dolphins, needs to make the playoffs.
We're trying, man. We're making a push. These next 2 games, or against the Browns and the Texans, are must-win games for us.
The Seahawks can still make the playoffs.
Seahawks can still make the playoffs.
They've got to figure it out, though. They've been having trouble.
They got a
lately.
rough stretch, though.
Yeah, they do have a really hard stretch of games coming up. But this game is probably going to be the lowest scoring game of the season. Because you have the number 1 defense in the league with the Browns going up against one of the slower offenses in the Broncos. And then you have one of the hottest defenses with the Broncos going up against one of the worst offenses with the Browns with their backup quarterback and their backup running back. This game, I would not be surprised if the final score was about 6-3, to be honest with you.
I was going to guess like 13-7.
You're getting a little high with 13.
I also just won a game scoring 13 points.
They won 13-10, which I think that's the lowest scoring game so far this year. I think we're gonna score even. It might be 10-9. I wouldn't be surprised if the winning team has single-digit points, just because the defenses are so good and the offenses are bad.
Are the Browns still starting? Are the Browns still starting DTR?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Broncos' key to winning this game is to put pressure on DTR, make him make mistakes, get the turnovers like we've gotten for the past month. We're second in the league in turnovers on defense. The Browns have the most turnovers on offense in the league. So it's the perfect storm for us to get 3 or 4 turnovers, and it just depends on if we can move the ball and actually get points off of them, because that's been a struggle. We had 4 turnovers against the Bills and got 6 points off of turnovers in that game. So if we can
Cortland Sutton
fix
too.
that.
Cortland
Sutton's been playing out of his mind. Last week he had 2 plays in the top 5 on SportsCenter top plays of the week. So
I forgot they're still doing that.
Yeah.
That too.
But yeah, if our defense can put pressure on DTR, get some turnovers, and get points off of them, we win this game. If we don't, we're gonna lose 3-0.
3-0. All right. Y'all got anything else to add to that?
No, Jason pretty much covered everything.
All right. Let's move on then. We've got our first sweep that we've got this entire week. Yeah, we've got a very interesting thing. This was not my idea. I don't remember. Whose idea was this?
It was Ryan's.
It was Ryan's idea. Yeah,
it was mine. It was mine.
Oh, was it? Oh, it was.
I couldn't remember.
Ryan was just helping look for him.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a condom theme for the sweeps this week. So we got the Bills at the Eagles. We all went with the Eagles. I mean, let's just quickly go through this. The Bills have not looked good lately.
Awful.
The Eagles are 9-1.
They look horrible, and the Eagles are still hot. They're still holding on to that hot streak at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought they were going to lose to the Chiefs, which is why I picked the Chiefs. And they proved me wrong. The Chiefs are not the same Chiefs that they have been.
I think the Chiefs should have beat them, though. Like
They
they
should
really
have,
should
but they
have.
didn't.
They couldn't catch, and that was really the key there. But
A big part of football.
yeah, one of the most important
That
things
and
is being able to catch a ball. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
that is scoring points in the second half. Very big things in football.
Yeah, the whole not scoring in the second half for the last 3 games, something is going on with the Chiefs. We know that it has to do with the receivers. They have got to figure it out, or they will have Ryan's prediction come true, and they will lose the first game they play in the playoffs. Teams that make the playoffs are not going to let the Chiefs win games if they don't score in the second half.
I need AJ Brown to have a big.
No, you don't.
No, I do. I need him to have a big like recovery, because even though the Eagles beat the Chiefs, AJ Brown like just wasn't there last week. Like he only had like 1 reception for like 8 yards, and that was it. And then there was that other one that he was thrown to, and then ended up being an interception, and then like Jalen Hurts never went his way again like that entire game. So I need AJ Brown to bounce back, because obviously I'm a big AJ Brown fan, so I want him to do well, and then obviously having him in fantasy too. But yeah, anything else to add to this, guys? You already move on.
No, this is an Eagles game all the way. It's in Philadelphia too. On top of that, so
oh yeah. All right, this one's an interesting one. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Vegas Raiders, and it's a 4-2 split. Ryan and Matthew both went with the Raiders. Everyone else went with the Chiefs. Even though we've been talking about Chiefs not being able to catch balls, I still just, for some reason, just couldn't go with the Raiders here. I don't really know why. This is one of those like gut instinct. I just couldn't bet against the Chiefs here.
It's hard to pick Aiden O'Connell for me.
Aiden O'Connell has been cooking. All right.
The biggest thing
He's
I
actually
feel like
getting the ball to Adams.
Yeah, that's another big thing. Adams has actually been doing something, because he's had people throw to him.
I just feel like the biggest thing is the Chiefs are just, they're one of those teams where they're not going to have 2 bad games in a row. I think they're going to wind up, this will be the game that they figure out how to play in the second half, I think. And they're going to wind up putting up 21 or 28 points in the second half against the Raiders.
Ooh, that's a big prediction right there.
My whole reasoning is Monte Adams is starting to get the ball. That's the main thing. Josh Jacobs, he's been hit or miss still, even though he had that one big game recently. He's been kind of going down a little bit. I think that the team morale is just high, and it's a divisional game. I mean, these two teams hate each other. And the Chiefs just can't catch. I think that's the biggest thing. If the wide receivers keep dropping passes, they will not win games. I mean, I know that they're winning games right now, but they're close. It's not like they're blowing people out. I don't like the Raiders by a lot, but I think they'll be able to pull it off.
I'm going for the Raiders in this game. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're going to win.
Fair enough.
All right. Let's move on. We're now into our primetime games. We got another sweep. We got the Ravens taking on the Chargers, and it was a Ravens sweep.
Hot take: this might be the game that gets Brandon Staley
I
fired.
was thinking the exact same thing.
I think the Chargers are going to get blown the fuck out at
Yeah.
home. I do not think this game will be close in the slightest.
I didn't realize that Brandon Staley is the one calling the defensive plays for the Chargers, so I don't understand how he's kept a job.
Hey,
Because he's not.
he's still calling the plays, so stop asking.
Stop asking him that question.
I don't
was
understand.
Such a funny press conference.
This is a different thing too. I don't understand how coaches can think that they can coach and call plays for any side of the ball. I feel like that is way too complicated to try to do both.
I don't know. Matt LaFleur was doing pretty good for a while, but now it's kind of, I'm starting to feel a little disheartened.
That's why you have coordinators.
Not recently.
That's why you have coordinators on the staff.
But also, you could get coordinators like Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, and then I mean, isn't Andy Reid? Doesn't he call the plays? So there's
Yes.
some. I mean, obviously the Chiefs aren't as good this year, but I mean, he's been doing it for a while, and obviously the Chiefs have been great. So
And Brandon Staley's been calling defensive plays for a while for the Chargers.
no. Brandon Staley shouldn't still be there. That's my opinion of it, because you're wasting all of that talent. Like there is so many talented players on that Chargers roster, especially on the offense. That it's like, all right, y'all got to figure something out with your defense because y'all's defense is not good, and you just keep
Not to
getting
mention he's
burned.
probably like doing so much work as a defensive coordinator he can't like work with the offense on anything. Like I feel like you have to be balanced when you're a head coach. You can't just focus on one side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I
And
think the Ravens will get some big stops. I mean, I still think the Chargers might be able to score some, but I don't think it's going to be much. And the Ravens are going to be able to score like every drive if they really want.
Big game from Gus Edwards here.
This is gonna. I'm calling the final score 45-17.
you think they're going to score
Christ.
17?
They'll have 10, and then they'll get one in garbage time.
That's fair.
I can see that. I can see that.
The only thing that the Chargers had going for them was their pass rush, and Joey Bosa is no longer playing because he's injured. All they have is Khalil Mack. They're not
Yeah,
going to get enough
that's-
pressure with Khalil Mack on Lamar Jackson to do anything. So
Yeah, like I said, this is Ravens by a couple miles. I mean,
yeah,
they're once again one of the hottest teams in football. I think we can officially say the Eagles are the hottest team in football now that they have
Aren't
beaten
they
the
the one
Chiefs.
seed?
The
Ravens.
right now
I think so.
because the Dolphins won yesterday, the Dolphins are the one seed. But if the
Okay.
Ravens win this game, they'll bump back up to the one seed. So as long as the Ravens win, they will control the one seed. And I actually think the Chiefs might be dropped down to the third seed. No, because they beat the Dolphins, didn't they?
They'll be up to the
Uh,
second or whatever.
Yeah, so they'll be the second seed. But yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. I spaced for a second. Are y'all saying the Ravens have the one seed now?
The
They will if they win.
I thought
they
they
will
already
if
had
they
it.
win. Well, because
They-
Miami played yesterday, they have the one seed now because of
Oh.
They have a better
their
record.
the
Okay.
percentage. They have
Yeah.
the same record right now, but it's because
Yeah,
the Ravens haven't been off.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's move on. So that's Sunday Night Football. Now let's move on to Monday Night Football. Yikes. We've got the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Why are the Bears on primetime this much? I feel like they've been on TV way too
Because-
I don't
much.
know.
Because of what they did in the off season, everybody thought they were going to be good, so they put them on primetime.
Yeah.
It
well,
doesn't make sense.
like the Jets.
I don't get why they thought that the Bears were going to be good. Like I get they went out and signed some highlight players, but that doesn't mean that your coaching staff got any better.
I think they were expecting too much out of Justin Fields to DJ Moore. I think just a little too
Too much out of a quarterback who's won about 10 games in his 5 years that he's been in the NFL.
Yeah, but
I
obviously
do
this
feel
was
bad for him though because his coaching staff has been absolute garbage.
That's what I'm saying. They should never have put them on primetime because the coaching staff is so bad and they didn't change it.
Why does Eberflus still have a job too? That's another
He's
one.
probably
Oh,
going to
no.
get fired at the end of the year.
I would say there's no way he coaches for the Bears next year. And if he
just looking at
does-
his record is just terrible as head coach for the Bears, and he's been there for a bit. So
If he's coached there next year, they deserve to lose. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
how it is.
But obviously, this was an easy pick. Go with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Vikings. I mean, they've had they had that game against the Broncos where they lost, but they have been pretty hot lately, and then the Bears just stink. So
Thank you, Broncos.
You're welcome.
We needed that. We really did.
All right, let's move on. We've got our last game, which is actually next week's game. We got Thursday Night Football. We got the Seahawks taking on the Cowboys. And, I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious that Ryan's going to be on his own here because it's his team. He's not going to pick against the Seahawks. He said he's never doing that, which I respect. But, yeah, this was easy for me. Sorry, Seahawks, but we saw what the 49ers just did to you too. And the Cowboys defense is just as good, if not better.
What's
Yeah, I was about to
interesting
say,
here, though, Seahawks have a winning record.
True.
Okay.
That is true.
That is true. This is their chance though to prove that they're not a fraudulent team. I don't think they're a fraudulent team.
I don't think so.
I think they're
Really
the real
don't.
deal this year. Whether or not they can beat, the likes of the Eagles, we'll find out here in a few weeks
Well,
when
and
they play again.
yeah, and they just
Whether or not they can win a playoff game.
if Dak could have kept his fucking feet in bounds, they had a chance to beat the Eagles when they played before too. So,
Yep.
I mean, we can't really say. I mean, even though they did lose to the Eagles, they scared the Eagles heavily in that game. So
Yeah, they did. I just, like you said, they just got run over by the 49ers. So I'm expecting Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb to once again have a big game and go off against the Seahawks. Their secondary has just fallen to pieces over the last few weeks. I don't know what happened, but
didn't they bench Tariq Woolen too? Tariq Woolen?
they did.
Which is really crazy to think about, because think about how he looked last year. Like he was
He
was in the talks for defensive rookie of the year. Like what happened?
It's just this past week against the 49ers, he was getting burnt, and when he wasn't getting burnt, he was still letting catches happen and not tackling. I don't know what has happened in the past month with the Seahawks secondary, but if they play like they did against the 49ers for the rest of the year, they may not win another game.
It was also the run game. The run game, the defensive line couldn't contain the run, and then it seemed like the secondary couldn't bail them out either, because the run game against them has been very successful against the Seahawks defense lately.
You can say that last week is an anomaly because they played against Christian McCaffrey, but the Cowboys do have Tony Pollard, who has proven to be a pretty solid running back. So if he runs all over the Seahawks, I mean, how can this game be close?
I'm going to say I disagree. I don't think you can even call it an anomaly at all, because think about what the Ravens did to the Seahawks too. The Ravens ran all over the Seahawks that game too.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Gus Edwards had like 2 touchdowns. Keaton Mitchell, who had not really played at all at that point, ran all over him, and it was like maybe he should be the starting running back. And then I don't think Justice Hill really did much that game, but he still was there. So all 3 of their running backs were just running all over the Seahawks. And I hate it because obviously I like the Seahawks a lot and I want them to be good. But yeah, I know you hate them. We know. But
yeah, I know Ryan has talked about it, but there is a very good chance that he's going to be going to that Christmas Eve game with you on a 5-game losing streak. Yeah. Because like we said, their schedule, they played the 49ers this past week. They have the Cowboys, then the 49ers in San Francisco, and then they play the Eagles. So
I'm so stressed about going to that game. I'm so stressed.
Ryan said yesterday that they've got to get rid of Geno, so he's looking for Michael Penix Jr. in this draft. That's what he told us yesterday. So
damn.
But the thing is, if you want Michael Penix, you're either going to have to trade up or you're going to have to lose the rest of your games, because they already have 6 wins. They're already they're going to be outside the top 10 picking at this point, regardless.
I'm kind of at the point where I don't want to win too many more games either, though. We need the pick.
Now y'all know how I felt last year.
I want the tackle from Notre Dame.
I want the best offensive tackle in the draft, I think, at this point. That's really...
I really don't know what I want the Packers to draft. I mean, offensive line gets hurt, so I don't want to say just draft offensive line because they're good whenever they're healthy. But
I've seen mocks where we take like Malik Neighbors from like LSU and stuff, but it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like I really want a lineman. I want a lineman with like the first 4 picks in our draft.
I mean, it's what I talked about too. It'd be the most boring draft of all time, but taking 3 offensive linemen, I'm fine with it at that point.
I mean, also, not to belabor more about us, but I mean, we have $100 million in cap space, so we could spend that money on people that are free agents and just draft linemen.
Yeah.
But that's it, yo. I think that's the last slide because Thursday night football. So
there's some good games next week. I was looking ahead. Yeah. Next week will be fun.
No, I mean let's look through this again real quick. So like
We only had what, 2 sweeps?
Yeah, we only had 3, I think. We had the Cowboys, the Vikings, and the Ravens.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
Oh, and the Eagles. So actually, there was more than I thought. But I mean, there's a lot of these games looking through it where we got some 4-2 splits. It seems like we either had 4-2 splits or it was like a one person on their own.
We had no 3-3 splits this week.
No 3-3s. But yeah, this is going to be a interesting week. But like I said, it's either going to be somebody is going to have a huge week and somebody's going to have a bad week and that causes separation, or it'll be you get this one, I get this one right, and then it just ends up being about the same. So every time I think that there's going to be like a big like change in the standings, it doesn't happen. So
Justin Jalen Phillips has suffered a torn Achilles and will be out the remainder of the season.
Yep,
dude,
that's what
that sucks.
Confirming what we already knew.
So you're telling me I shouldn't play the Dolphins defense anymore in my other league? Is what
I would still play them.
But, I mean,
Do they play the Jets again?
I think so. I think I've only played them once,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the remaining schedule they have is very favorable for their defense, except for a couple games. So.
And they also still have to play the Patriots, I think.
No.
Well, I should tell you, I also part of the reasons I have the Dolphins defense is because I had to pick them up because Saints was on bye. I have the Saints defense too, and they've been very solid as well. So I don't know. I'll have to make that decision. But all right, I think that's a podcast. Y'all ready to end it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to end it all.
End it all. Yeah, the world's ending outside, but there's a volcano that erupted or something. So this might be the last thing you'll ever see from us. So anyway. Thanks everybody for watching the Always Out of Market podcast. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, make sure to follow it or subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can see the visual elements that we add. There's a lot of kooky, unhinged stuff on our PowerPoint slides that we make. And then yeah, I would say follow us on Twitter, but we haven't been very active on that. Maybe we'll figure that out and get more active on it again. It's at Out of Market Pod if you want to add us and tell us all of our stupid takes and things like that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh, sorry, we gotta do our.
Oh yeah, we gotta...
All right, Tyler, we're gonna pretend your hands in, okay? All right, on football on 3. 1, 2, 3. Football.
Football.